All right, so this is a part two for y'all on finding out which deity you're linked to. And another thing this will do is kind of help you put on glasses when you're like in the real world and kind of see what deities other people are connected to. And you'll kind of see that we're living in a magical world and we don't realize it. And it's kind of metaphorical and it's literal at the same time. And this is only a preview though. I'm not going super in depth. If you want to get super in depth, you got to book me for a reading. You know what I'm saying? But this will definitely open up your eyes to a lot. You know, I'm giving a lot away for free. Let me list off some of the magical names of entities and creatures and stuff you should already be familiar with. You know what I'm saying? Um, you got trolls, witches, fairies, wizards, warlocks, priests, sirens, mermaids, demons, prophets. Prophets. You got seers, fortune tellers, palm readers. Then you got like the jinns, which is like an Arabic thing. Pixies, which is similar to fairies. You got the magician. You got devils, gods, creatures, dragons. You might have heard of like what's the thing with the lion head? Can't think right now. Ghouls and ghosts, warriors, sorcerers, leprechauns, vampires, zombies, sprites, elves. You know what I'm saying? These are common things. Griffins, that's what it is. Griffins. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. These are common things that you've been seeing on TV, things you see on your cereal boxes, on your cartoons, on your comic books and your movies and your video games, things you've been hearing in folklore, things you probably heard growing up. Like if you're from the Caribbean, my mom tells me stories of like, believe it or not, might sound crazy to you, but she tells me stories of being in school and hearing mermaids sing. Like actually seeing the mermaid's comb and like seeing a mermaid's tail and seeing it like jump in the water and shit before. You know what I'm saying? She used to tell me them type of stories growing up. Like stories of actually seeing these entities and seeing these things with their own two eyes, you know what I'm saying? And I'm here to tell you, you probably do the same thing and don't even realize it. I'm not even talking about a motherfucker who dives into the water. I'm talking about somebody you probably sit next to in class or somebody you text or talk to or one of your friends online. They're the same thing, and that's what I'm about to get into. So, going back over my list, where do I want to start? Like I said, this is only a preview, so I'm gonna get in depth, but I ain't gonna get too in depth. Let's start with trolls. You know what a troll is based on social media. You know what I'm saying? And if you've ever seen them in like movies and stuff like that, cartoons, they kind of act that same way. They're usually mean and they're usually annoying. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that we have trolls online, you should be able to make that connection pretty easily compared to the rest of these. You know what I'm saying? Aside from maybe witches, which is the next one. Um, Regardless of how you feel about witchcraft and stuff, being a witch is really like being a scientist. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with like being a wizard. If you really pay attention to what they're doing when you watch shows that have these characters, they're really doing science. You just don't look at it like that because you've been told that it's evil. But if you pay attention to the way that people talk, you know what I'm saying? When they're good at something, they usually call themselves a wizard. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, I'm a whiz when it comes to this rapping. I'm a whiz when it comes to this cooking. I'm a wit. They letting you know what they are, nigga. I'm a wizard. I'm a scientist. I'm a magician. I'm nasty at this. You know what I'm saying? I cook up that magic, but magic is just a science. So that's how you can go into the world and start seeing wizards. You'll be surprised how often you'll hear somebody refer to themselves as a wizard. Now that I put it in your mind, you can go see it for yourself. You may be a wizard. You may be any of these things that I'm naming. You know what I'm saying? You also may be multiple of these things. Because your mom might have been, it might sound crazy, but your mom might have been a fairy and your dad might have been a wizard, like some charm shit. You gotta watch the show Charmed. And these are energies at the end of the day. This is an energy. So they might have had the energy of a fairy and your dad have the energy of a wizard. They come together and now you both, like a superhero movie or something. imagination is going to be key here. You know what I'm saying? But this is also very real, and it also helps to explain your behavior and the things you naturally do and like. So I already named wizards. Warlocks was on my list, but that kind of ties into the whole witches thing. It's just like the male version. Sometimes you have the wizard is like the male version of a witch, but sometimes I feel like it's like a more advanced witch, or more advanced or older, or just someone who's super nice at what they do. That's just my personal interpretation of the difference. If I look up the actual definition, it's just a man with magical powers. You know what I'm saying? So but I feel like it's usually someone who's older and more advanced. Priest, it's just the same way what we know like pastors and shit like that now. Except the ancient priest was a lot closer to being like Rafiki from Lion King than Bishop T.D. Jakes. I skipped fairies. My bad. Fairies. So fairies are like, as you like Tinkerbell and shit. You know what I'm saying? Obviously. They're nature spirits, so they relate to like nature energy. The word fairy is related to the word fate. That's where you get the word fate from. Fairy is like one word to use like multiple words, and it's a standard word for like volatile, sexy nature spirits. All right, so like animals that are usually associated with fairies are like frogs, toads, dragonflies, butterflies, horses, cattle, deer, and foxes. You know what I'm saying? So if you were outside and you've seen some deer, or if you've seen sometimes just animals in general, but if you've seen dragonflies, or you're seeing some butterflies go by, or some horses, I don't know where the fuck you're going to be seeing wild horses, but maybe you're driving by a farm and you just happen to be doing that. You know what I'm saying? You see a fox, you see some frogs and toads. It's like you're in the presence of that fairy energy. You know what I'm saying? You may not actually see a little Tinkerbell motherfucker with wings, but you may see this, and that's your sign that like you're around that fairy energy. Now, as far as real people, these are usually like the more free spirited people, musicians. These are usually like hippies. You know what I'm saying? If you want to know, a lot of people online, and men is a part of this too. So like if you a man that make music, you like a hippie nigga, you one of them niggas with like a septum or something, this is more likely to be kind of like you, dependent. Most women that you see online, it's a little different for me because I can see what deity you are kind of just by looking at you. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people put the emoji of what they are subconsciously because you know you're that already, but you don't know it consciously. So you might put a butterfly next to your name. You don't know why you did that. You know what I'm saying? You might put a fairy next to your name. Your name might be fairy something, and you thinking you just did that just cause, but it's like, nah, it's like you really a fairy out this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And pixies is like the warlock to the fairy. You know what I'm saying? Look at it like that. If you ever seen Fairly Odd Parents, you should definitely watch that. You know, and watch their relationship with the pixies. You know what I'm saying? Fairies are also known to be like people who bring positive, prosperous type of energy. You know what I'm saying? So next, I would say, what's a common one? Like mermaids and sirens. Okay, so a siren, let me start with a mermaid. Mermaid is like people who love water, like that water energy. So there's a lot of stories of seeing the real mermaid, like let me not say real, but like actual Little Mermaid, Little Mermaid that you see in the movie. There's actual stories we have in the Caribbean and like Jamaica, Haiti, and mostly in those. I feel like they're a lot more popular in Haiti and very popular in Jamaica. I can't speak for the other islands, how much other people share those stories, but I feel like we share them a lot. And there, you could say they're like, you know, people who, if you have like a strong connection with water, or if you have like if you'll see like a woman with locks and she just happens to put like seashells and fish iconography and like fish designs or something like that, or like maybe if you're like a Pisces or like one of the water signs, that might point to you being this because those are ruled by the moon, and mermaids and sirens have to do with the moon, depending if you're a water one. Mermaids are very similar to muses, which I'm about to get to in a second, where it's like, you know, same thing with fairies too, where it's like that like beautiful mesmerizing like woman, or there's even mermen, so it could go the other way too. But it's like that beautiful, mesmerizing person that you're so like, just kind of like, oh my god, they just look so good. And usually they kind of look, I don't know how to explain it, but they kind of look watery. They kind of like, their hair just looks like they just came from underwater. Like, I don't know, but a lot of times these people will use the mermaid emoji, whether they realize they know why they're doing it or not. As a matter of fact, if you go to motherfuckers' bios, they might just have "I'm a mermaid" in there. Like, believe it or not, and you thinking that they just saying that to say that, but they being dead ass. You know what I'm saying? And just something for you to look out for. You know, like I said, this only the preview, so I'm only giving you the icing on the cake. I can't give you the filling. You gotta book me for a reading. Zombies. So this is a funny one because, everyone's waiting for the you know what to turn niggas into zombies. That's how niggas was talking. Like, oh my god, people who took it thinking they gonna be zombies. Everybody posting the I Am Legend shit, and like everybody just niggas gonna be zombies. Blah blah blah. I'm not saying that may or may not happen. I don't know, but niggas is zombies right now. You know what I'm saying? They're called crackheads. We literally call them fiends. A fiend is a zombie. They're literally dying. They're literally half dead. They're literally the Walking Dead. The same way the Walking Dead be, like, that's literally how they be. When I was talking about the Walking Dead, I'm talking about the show. Anything with zombie related, you can compare it to like a crackhead or someone who's like a super duper strong drug addict, but mainly a crackhead, because crackheads be doing some crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? You could beat the shit out of a crackhead and he'll just pop back up the same way a zombie will. They're out of their mind, you know what I'm saying? And all they really do is kind of want more crack. That's the way a zombie wants brains. You know what I'm saying? So that's one to spot easily. You want to see some zombies? You know what I'm saying? Go to the go somewhere where there's crackheads. You know what I'm saying? Go to like a liquor store in a bad neighborhood, but don't get out your car if you're not from there. I skipped over sirens. So sirens can be, and this is funny, sirens can be mer women. You know what I'm saying? They're like the pixies to the fairy. They're like that darker side, the more Lilith side that people talk about. But they're also like half bird, half woman. So we have in our culture, we call women, and it's not a positive thing, but this is interesting. Like, mythology is very interesting when it comes to us and things that we think is negative and positive and what. Because sirens are known as birds because they're like half bird, half woman. The same way we call like women chicken heads and we call women birds now. And bird behavior is siren behavior. So what you already know about a bird, like in your mind, like that's a bird bitch. That's kind of what a siren is already. So it's actually very interesting. You know what I'm saying? You know how it's like, oh, a bird might try to come between, like break up a happy home or something like that. Like, that's what sirens do. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's what they're known for, that lure. It would be like a pretty woman luring you into doing some adultery. Not saying that every siren woman who may identify or have this type of energy is like that. I'm just talking about, just trying to paint the picture for you. You know what I'm saying? It's not all going to be black and white. Some people just have this energy and it just comes out in different ways. It might make them more sexual. I don't mean that they're breaking up a happy home. You know what I'm saying? I'm just pointing this out. It's definitely someone who is strong in their sexual energy, though. That's one way you're going to know. Let's keep it moving. Muses. Muses are the beautiful woman that you see on your timeline. You just be like, wow, she's fine as hell. They're inspirational goddesses. Originally, they were the inspirational goddesses of science and literature and arts, and they were considered the source of knowledge, embodied in the poetry, lyrics, songs, and myths. And, you can literally see that to this day, because most artists, they talk about having a muse. You know what I'm saying? I think Drake has a line where he's like, I found a new muse, and that's bad for you. And Division has an album on Muse and Her Feelings. You know what I'm saying? Because this shit is very real. Yeah, but it's usually just that beautiful woman that you're always seeing on your timeline. Like, them people who just go viral all day for looking good. You know what I'm saying? This could be a man or a woman. Don't get me wrong. This stuff isn't genderless. I'm a man, so I'm a straight man, so I'm gonna be talking about a beautiful woman. But that doesn't mean that you may not be a muse and you a nigga. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it is what it is. Yeah, so today a muse will be known as like a model, a babe, a bad bitch. You know, they're sex workers and strippers. There's in the movie Dogma, good movie to watch. They actually in the movie Dogma, they actually go to find a muse who's like in a strip club, and it's trying to show you like where the muses are today. It's like they're the models, they're the strippers, they're in places like that. You know, you're supposed to see that, and you're supposed to see them and kind of get inspired to want to do better, or just inspired to do things, inspired to make a song. Like, there's a great episode on Charmed about muses. There's a great episode about all these fucking creatures on Charmed, and just watch it for better understanding of yourself and the people around you. You have what else? Ghouls and ghosts, leprechauns, vampires. The real vampires are like psychic vampires, motherfuckers who come and leech off of you and drain your energy. And people drain your energy in all different types of ways. Watch my videos on protecting your energy and not giving your energy away. But there's a lot of vampires out there. They're very common. You know what I'm saying? Another thing to think about is like when you watch these shows and they have like the fairy might be like, let's say, the daytime night, they might be like the daytime fun loving nature spirit, and then like the pixie or the harpies like the nighttime quote unquote evil one or something. It's very interesting when you think about people who live like a day life and people who live the night life. You know what I'm saying? People who are usually living the nightlife may be considered to like deal with their darker side more. People who live in the day life, you know, vice versa. So it's just very interesting how these things start to correlate. Like when you watch movies like The Underworld, you know what I'm saying? And the places that those creatures link up in the movies, the places that they hide out at, like usually in clubs and stuff like that. Same thing with like the movie Blade. They're usually in clubs and in nightlife places and stuff like that. In the daytime, they're not really seen. It's just very, it's very interesting how we may be doing the same things. We're just not, you know, growing fangs at 12 o'clock, as far as I know. But, you know, all jokes aside. So, yeah, the whole purpose of the first video and getting to understand what deity you're connected to is all supposed to help you with understanding the energy you walk around with. You know, so go back to watch that first video and then watch this video so you could be... If this video is working right, by the time you go back on your timeline today, you should see some fairies and mermaids and pixies and all that other shit. You know what I'm saying? You should see a woman, and even if you, like my eyes at this point, I could look at your ears and like your height and the shape of your face, your hair and shit. You may not have my eyes, you know, maybe that's one of my gifts. But you should be able to see them based on the emojis they use, based on what the type of shit they're into, based on what they're doing, or just based on some of these descriptions right there. And you should even have some people in mind. You know what I'm saying? You might be like, oh, Rihanna, I could see how she could be. So like Rihanna, that could be a muse or someone who carries that like fairy energy because she makes music and shit. You know what I'm saying? The fairy energy is also known as like the pan energy. You know what I'm saying? That's just one example. If you want a more detailed example of what deity you're connected to, like as a part of a reading, so you can really be assured on who you are as far as energy and spirit, like world goes, just hit me up. I definitely can give you one. Or you could just get one big reading would have just all the shit that you need, whether it be like your birth chart, your numerology, your destiny, your deity, all of that. Just hit me up. I hope this video helps. Leave any feedback, any questions you may have. I may do another one, but you know, just wanted to give you a little preview.